know most of you because I've seen some of the same faces and I know the names, and it's great to be back here. I'm the Executive Director at the Armed Services YMCA, and I'll just give you a little bit of information about 29 Palms. 29 Palms is the largest base in the country, and it is the largest Marine training base in the world. We have 12,000 Marines on the base and 1,000 Navy on the base. We have about 40% of the 13,000 military there are married with children. The average age of a Marine on the base in 29 Palms is 21. So that gives you an idea. Forgive me for saying this, but you know, a lot of these boys get scrubbed up and they end up in a bar right before they're going to Fallujah, and somebody says, "I love you," and then before you know it, besides the big truck that they've already bought, they've now got a wife and often one, two, or three children. Wow. It's very true. The average pay for the first through third year is about $1,600 a month, if you can believe it, for you know, the Marines starting out. As you know, as officers, they do extremely well. On the other hand, 40% of our families are eligible for welfare on our base. You will never hear a Marine ask for anything, though. Very few of them take it, even though it's available to them. But you'll never hear Marines say, "I need this, I need that, I need the other thing." It just doesn't, it never leaves their lips. When I say we're the largest base, we're the size of the state of Rhode Island. That gives you an idea. Wow. And it was purchased from the Army for $1 back in the 50s. And why? Because it resembles the Middle East the most, out in the middle of the desert. And these guys can tell you probably far more than I can tell you, and they're probably not allowed to tell you what, and I'm probably not even supposed to say what I know. They've got entire villages constructed out there, and they go out there for a month at a time, and they, you know, they do what they gotta do, you know, like blow things up and attack villages and things like that, because that's what the military is all about. All I really know, since I have all spouses who work in my, when we say spouses, it's usually wives who work in my office, and they tell me that after the guys come back, they have them strip in the garage and then go right to take 5 showers right away, because they smell like they have been out in the desert for 4 or 5 weeks. So, and I'm sure you guys could tell me that as well. I'm going to take the opportunity to introduce to you the reason that we're actually here, and that's we have two Marines here today with us from 29 Palms, and I'm going to introduce first Lance Corporal Xavier Petrie, correct? Did I get it right? He's been to many things with me, but I always say Petrie. I'm thinking of the Dick Van Dyke Show. Why don't you say a few things and tell us a little bit about yourself, okay, Lance Corporal?
So, I was born in Stillwater, Oklahoma. I was raised in El Paso, Texas. So, coming to California, I was expecting like different things, especially 29. I thought it was gonna be awesome, but but for my job, I'm a 1345. So I work basically. I build flight lines. I do dirt work. I load motor T trucks, and I like basically do like construction stuff. And that's basically like all I do all day. And then even her, she knows that like we're in the same company and like unit and everything, and we're busy all the time.
So the kind of work that you do, that you would be doing if you were being sent someplace is what? What would you be doing if you were being sent?
We pretty much clear the runway for like trucks and like freaking like units that are coming out there. We like clear like routes and everything for them to go. Like make sure there's like no bombs or like nothing's in the way for them to go.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're the first one. Yeah. You're the first ones in, making sure that.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of our guys are infantry. They're the first ones that go into anything
wow.
at our base. And we also have an airport, which most people don't even know, but we have a full airport on our base. A working airport in 29 Palms. It's military, but it's working. Oh yeah. In fact, my assistant, her husband was the manager of the airport. He was a pilot and managed the airport. Have you been out to the airport?
I have.
Okay.
Freaking, they took us out there to like work on like a little project. And we gotta like, I guess like fix around it because it would flood all the time. So they just took us out there to like dig ditches.
Okay. Can I invite Corporal Mary Torres up to speak? Mary?
So, my name is Mary Torres. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I've been in the Marine Corps for about 3 years now. Out in 20 Palms for about 2. So, coming to 29 Palms, it was really different. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of scared of mountains. Like, when I first came, it kind of terrified me because it was just kind of like something big and just there. It was very new. But my job, motor transportation, so I basically drive like the bigger trucks and everything, transporting Marines to wherever they need to go.
What's a bigger truck? Give me an idea.
The 7-ton, I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with that. There's 18s, they're pretty big.
How many wheels does it have?
Ooh, for the 18, about 12. I want to say about 12.
Wow, okay, that's a big truck.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. Yeah. But,
So it's not like a pickup.
something like that.
So how many Marines can it hold though?
So we have a short bed, so that one can hold about 12 in the back. For a long bed, it's about, I believe it was 20.
Yeah,
About
it's a
20
big
in the
truck.
back of that one.
It's a big
Yeah.
truck.
It's pretty big. Most of the time we carry like a lot of stuff that they have to load to like water cons and everything, so they're really big and they fit in the back of it. But yeah.
Wow. Wow.
What's the most unusual thing you've done in the Marines since you've been in? Can you say, Mary?
Well, for me, so I've never actually been like, I guess in camping in a way when we go out to the field and everything. So we went to Bridgeport not too long ago, where we had to stay out there, and it was like really cold, freezing out there. It was just snow everywhere. It was just new staying out there for so long and everything. I think we're out there for at least 2 weeks long. There's times we'll come back and we're like, staying in for about 2 days, take our showers, go back out there and everything. But that one's like very different for me.
You've been stationed where else besides 29?
I was deployed to Australia for about 7 months.
Oh,
It was
wow.
really different. Like,
Yeah.
I promise you, the food out there is completely different.
Made you lonesome for mountains, didn't it?
Well, coming from Texas, it's very
Yeah, exactly.
Is Dallas? Yeah. How about you, Xavier? Where have you been stationed?
So I went to Bridgeport with her, but other than that, since my section is like really small, we haven't been like really out there. So we've just been like helping them. Basically.
Okay. They're going to be around, and you can feel free to talk to them afterwards. But this is an example of the young people who come to the military, and we're lucky that people still choose to come to the military. And many of you touched upon it before. I certainly think of what the senator said. My parents were immigrants from Ireland, and so, as I say, we had one of everything when you come from Ireland to show that you fit in as an American. One had to become a policeman, one had to become a fireman, one had to become a nun, and one had to go in the military, and a nun or a priest. And so my father, not wanting to become a priest, went into the Army. And so I spent a lot of my life in Newport News, Virginia, where he was in the transportation section of the Army. And you don't know what you don't know. You don't know if you're poor. You don't know what you don't have. And particularly our generation, since many of us are our generation. But younger people who kind of have so much, so young, to suddenly end up in a place like 29 Palms and to be 25 miles away from a Walmart and 75 miles away from a Target or a decent restaurant or anything, it's kind of a shock of life for them, and to realize that they could be here for 3 or 4 years in this setting is very unusual, and it takes a lot of dedication, it takes a lot of sacrifice, and I say particularly for these folks who've been there a couple of years now at 29, that to give yourselves so freely, and for many of them they can't even have a car because it's a training, so cars are verboten. The one way that you could get a car is if you happen to be married, but they don't happen to be. But you know what I'm saying.
Right.
But once you reach a certain level in terms of your rank, you can have a car. So when you see a military person, you should be grateful, because no matter what the branch of the military, they're sacrificing. but I've come to love the Marines. And I have to say, last year I brought a Navy corpsman with me. I don't know if you remember Bonham Scott. He's been transferred. He and his wife are gone. But I would say, given the choice, the Marine uniform is much better, wouldn't you say? Thank you, not to be outdone, we also have a certificate to say thank you. And I'm going to ask if you would hold it. And please, Amy, come up also. And move in there just a little bit. Mary. And our certificate says, in recognition of Lee Mao and Amy of the Diamond Bar Country Estates, with sincere gratitude for your constant support of our young military and their families aboard the Marine Corps Air Ground Combat Center in 29 Palms, California, especially during the holiday season, the Armed Services YMCA and the Marines at 29 Palms, California branch.